You picked a great day to join us. Hi, everybody. Welcome. We've got a terrific lineup for you on tap today. We begin this time in the Old Dominion, where Virginia lawmakers are now in session down in Richmond. Governor Terry McAuliffe joins us now in the studio. Governor, thanks very much for your time.
Great to be back.
It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Great to be with you.
We appreciate very much your time. When you and I sit down and talk at the end of this year's legislative term, what do you hope to be able to say? What do you hope lawmakers do in this, their one bite at the apple during the course of 2016?
Well, they're back for 60 days. I have a very aggressive budget agenda out there that I have laid out, very large, over 2-year, $109 billion budget. I've included $1 billion in new funding for education. We now will have the largest investment ever for K through 12 education. I put a bond initiative up for about $2.4 billion to help our colleges on research and development. So when we go through this session, let's work in a bipartisan way, all to build what I call the new Virginia economy, get us the tools for workforce development. We are reshaping high school as we know it today. It was built for the Industrial Revolution. We're changing that. Instead of a building with classroom with seats, trying to get folks in our high schools to take courses, to go out and work on credentialing and apprenticeships, to work out in the communities. Huge emphasis on education, huge emphasis on our veterans. As you know, Bruce, Virginia is the first and the only state to be recognized by the Federal Secretary of HUD for functionally ending veteran homelessness in our state, something we are very proud of, and continue to do economic development. 4.2% unemployment, 3.8 million of Virginians working today, more than any time in Virginia history, lowest initial unemployment claims in 41 years. We've done about 560 economic development projects. We've brought in about $9.3 billion since I've been governor. Our economy is moving. It's strong. We just got to continue to do it with sequestration pushed off for a couple of years.
Job creation is, by most observers' analysis, the top area where you and the Republicans who control both chambers of the Assembly can work together. Can that pay dividends on other issues? Can you take whatever, not only achievement, but relationship that comes from the Virginia is open for business sort of approach and have that carry over despite what seems like permanent gridlock in all of our politics right now?
I think the issue of economic development and growing what I call the new Virginia economy trumps everything else. Because what everybody expects us to do, elected officials, is to focus on our constituents and to create jobs. Every parent wants to make sure their child can get a good paying job. That's not a partisan issue. And we've had great success down working together with the Republican legislature, working with me to build the new Virginia economy. It takes teamwork to do it. Our results, as I say, best we've seen in a very, very long time. Our unemployment, lowest of any state in the southeast of the United States of America. But listen, you want everybody to have a job, but also, if you want to invest in areas, Bruce, you need economic activity. And I just announced the largest surplus in the history of Virginia. That surplus allows us to invest more in education, which allows me to build that workforce of the future, which allows me to travel the globe and bring businesses back to Virginia, which creates more economic activity. So listen, we're in a very good position. The message I tried to convey the other day is sequestration has been pushed off for 2 years. Bruce, as you know, Virginia is very vulnerable. We're the largest recipient of Department of Defense dollars. 27 military installations, largest naval base in the world, the Pentagon, CIA, Quantico, all in Virginia. And we saw huge cuts, as you know, in 11, 12, and 13, about $10 billion. Congress has pushed it off for 2 years. Let's use these 2 years to work in a bipartisan way to grow our economy. Shame on us if we don't come together for these 2 years, because it'll be back in 2 years. This is our time. This is our moment. Let us seize this moment, work in a bipartisan way, and grow the economy.
There's been talk that you and D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser and Maryland Governor Larry Hogan will travel as a unit, marketing and advocating on behalf of the Washington region as a whole. What sort of assets do you take with you on the road, and who's the competition?
I think when you look at our region, when you look at Virginia and Maryland and D.C., when we work collectively as a region, Bruce, I don't think there's anybody who actually can compete with us. You look at all the federal government spending, the defense issues we have, you want to build cybersecurity, data analytics. All of us have a piece of that. When we act together, I think we send quite a message, and great educational institutions in all of our respective areas. That's how we can recruit businesses. We already have a date scheduled. We're scheduled to go up to Canada on our first marketing tour to do that. And listen, I'll work with Mayor Bowser and Governor Hogan. We're all in when we work together. It's such a huge universe out there. This isn't Virginia versus Maryland or D.C. In fact, I don't spend my time trying to cherry-pick business from a Maryland or a D.C. I was probably, if not one of the most traveled governors in the globe last year. I went to China twice, Japan, Korea, 7 European nations. I just got back from the Middle East. I just got back to Cuba. 95% of the world's customers live outside of America. I go where the customers are, and that's why I'm traveling so much outside. So to me, it's not, we're not working against each other. Let's all work together, and that's how we grow the area.
Medicaid expansion has proven to be a very tough nut to crack.
Yeah.
Do you reach a point where you say, I think the merits far outweigh whatever reasons there are not to, but I get where the Assembly leadership is on this, so I'm going to put my eggs in a different basket? Or is the case so compelling that you attempt to get this thing done in 16 despite past failures?
Listen, I've proposed it again, but let me put it in perspective. As I just say, I announced a $109 billion biennium budget. The savings from the Medicaid expansion would be about $352 million. Folks know that I think it's the right thing to do, but let's not let it bog down all of these other major initiatives that we have to work together. But very quickly, we now, thanks to the hospitals in Virginia, they have agreed to pay 100% of any cost that the federal government doesn't pay for, so when it comes off 100%. So here we are today in Virginia, Bruce, that we can bring $2.4 billion back, create 30,000 new jobs, help 400,000 individuals get health care, save many of our rural hospitals that are in trouble, no cost to the Commonwealth. Short term, well, no cost, zero. Why wouldn't you do it? You know, leading Republican senator, co-chair of the Finance Committee, Emmett Hanger, said the other day, this is all about political ideology, which is unfortunate, but it's true. I'm hoping we can move away from political ideology, work together in a bipartisan way, put political ideology aside, and do what's in the best interest of Virginians and work together and grow the economy.
You and I just taped an interview on the gun violence epidemic that will air tonight as part of a town hall meeting on gun violence that we're producing here that will air, as I say, later on. One thing I didn't ask then was to get you to respond and react to the Attorney General's decision on reciprocity, where a person who lives in another state might have a concealed carry permit with an expectation that that permit might apply when they cross state lines. He takes a different view because he's looked at Virginia's law and, say, Tennessee, and he's found the situation lacking.
Well, the one, you know, listen, I'm for common sense gun restrictions. I ran for governor on this topic. I'm for background checks, as you know. I'm a gun owner. I hunt, take my boys hunting, but I went through a background check. It takes 2 to 3 minutes. But the argument back on the other side always is, well, just enforce the laws. Okay, so what the Attorney General has now done, Bruce, to enforce the laws. We have somewhere about 15 requirements on ours when you go out on your concealed permit carry that other states don't have. Certain states allow individuals with mental illness to purchase a firearm. Certain states allow illegal aliens to purchase a firearm. We don't. We have restrictions on those. So other states don't have the strict rules that we have that were passed, I remind you, by the Republican General Assembly. All the Attorney General is doing is enforcing that law so that other states who have more lax laws on who can purchase a firearm are in compliance with where Virginia is. So that's what we're doing. I passed Executive Order number 50. I stood with the head of the state police, the head of the chiefs of police, and the head of the Sheriff's Association stood right behind me. I'm banning concealed carry inside or open permit carry inside our state office buildings. At the end of the day, we shouldn't have folks walking around our state office buildings. But the other thing I'm doing is if you have a domestic, let's say you have a restraining order on a domestic abuse charge, you can't purchase a firearm. But guess what? You can own one and have one in your house. So you can't buy one, but you can keep one. So we're going to work with the judges and the Commonwealth's attorney. If you can't buy one when you're under a restraining order, you sure as heck probably shouldn't have one in your home if you already have one.
We have about 90 seconds left for this segment. State Senator Creed Deeds is suing the state over the circumstances that led to the eventually to the death of his son. Has the state closed the gap and increased mental health capacity, not just in the wake of that case, but in the wake of what otherwise might have been a gap between need and available treatment? opportunities?
We've done a much better job. We have passed legislation, increased our waiver slots, and done what we need to do. There was a problem, in that instance, a distress situation where all the hospitals called, were the beds available. So now we have obviously put a mechanism in place so that will not happen again. But have we done all we needed to do? Of course not. This is a very serious issue. And we've made progress, but I'll be the first to tell you we have a long way to go, and we need to continue to do this as we go forward.
Talking with Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe. We will take a break here. We're back, though, with more News Talk here on News Channel 8 right after this.